of the hardest things about self-improvement is feeling like you're doing really well, making a lot of progress, feeling great, and then this happens. A rut. It's happened to me hundreds of times and it really is the fucking worst. It feels like it comes out of nowhere, sneaks up behind you, and drags you back down to your old life, further and further away from your goals. In this video, I want to tell you in detail exactly how you can get out of a rut very quickly. Step 1, unplug. You need to let yourself be bored. I find when I'm in a rut that I bounce around between just stimulation sources, from video games to Netflix to social media to junk food. I'm not really feeling any of it or enjoying it. I'm just running around like a desperate little dopamine monkey trying to be stimulated and distract myself from my own thoughts and feelings. You need to give yourself time to feel, think, and process instead of just drowning your mind in dopamine and stimulation. You need to realize that you're in a rut for a reason. There's always like a root cause of a rut, right? So it could be feeling overwhelmed or feeling lost and kind of directionless, or feeling just like straight bored and like dead inside, running away from a problem or not wanting to take accountability for something. Those are just some things I thought of off the top of my head while scripting this video. But for me, my most recent rut was because my life was starting to feel stale and I felt like everything I was doing was purposeless and I didn't have strong whys for what I was doing. And at the surface level, I just needed a change in my environment and routine because I was getting bored. I also think I was struggling with, wanting to become like the better ideal version of myself, but still kind of being stuck. You know how I figured that out? I finally fucking closed Instagram and just lay there on my bed, staring at the roof, feeling like shit, and allowing myself to think that out, to feel what I was feeling and to think what I was thinking, right? Like, I'll just kind of show you what I imagine it looked like, right? I'm using my phone to record this, but say this was my phone. I'm probably just lying there, just like doom scrolling, right? And just would have been like, I just fucking lay there staring at my roof, just feeling like shit, basically, for like a couple of minutes. And it only took a couple of minutes. But when I gained clarity, it was all I needed to start turning things around. So turn everything off. Literally stare at a wall. Sit there staring at a wall. Lie there staring at the roof. And just allow those thoughts and feelings to surface, sit in that negative state. Allow yourself to think your thoughts and feel your feelings and start to analyze your mind. Although it's painful, it's weirdly peaceful and will help you feel a lot better. So now that you've detached from all of the negative inputs and stimulation and, sat in that discomfort and reflected and gained clarity, you need to start filling your head with some positive inputs and get some good ideas flowing, give yourself hope. And now the easiest way to do this is to just consume some kind of content. Now I'm not saying start a self-development fucking YouTube video binge, right? I find that my brain is usually too cooked to read. It just feels too boring and too fried and brain foggy to read after, I've been in a rut and I've just been fucking ruining my ability to focus. You know what I'm saying, right? So usually for me, reading is not an option at this point, but I tend to watch some kind of self-development content, like a podcast or a YouTube video or something. Now I'm not talking about some motivational Andrew Tate, Sigma male bullshit. I'm talking about some good, high-quality content that, at least somehow relates to that core root of your rut. So, as I said earlier, for me, a lot of the thoughts that, when I was in that first phase of just unplugging and allowing my thoughts to occur, a big theme was what are you doing? You're better than this. This isn't who you are anymore, blah, blah, all this. So I watched a video from a guy called Kenny Bender, who's a guy I really like. It was called How to Kill Your Current Self. And, about 2 minutes into that, I just got that spark, that You know when you're watching something and you kind of feel it doesn't last, but that little spark, you know, you feel kind of hyped up, you feel kind of good and motivated and inspired. The second you feel that, get up and move on to phase 3, okay? Like, I'm not saying start a self-development content binge. Like, seriously, like, the only purpose of this section is just to get some good ideas flowing and get that spark, just that motivation, right? So the second you get that, move on to step 3. Now, step 3 is environment refresh. So I often find when I'm in a rut, you know, my room goes to shit. There's clothes everywhere, my bed's never made, you know, my desk is cluttered, there's like shit everywhere, there's like cups and plates and stuff, and it's just a shithole. Room looks like a bomb site. Now, I think Jordan Peterson talks about this a lot, but your environment is like a reflection of your internal state. So, you know, if your room is messy and unkept and chaotic, then, you know, that's a sign that your mental state is one of procrastination, turmoil, and laziness. The idea is to take that little spark of inspiration from phase 2 and use it to start building some momentum by completing like an easy but a really productive task like cleaning your room, right? It does a couple of things, right? It gives you a little mental win, so, you know, starts to build momentum in the good things. It'll improve your self-image. When you look around, you won't feel like a piece of shit. You'll feel like an organized, you know, productive person. And it'll also set up a little reward cycle in your brain of like craving productive and like positive dopamine releases instead of just harmful, stimulating things. Like when you play video games, you feel stimulated, you get that little dopamine hit, and it reinforces the behavior of playing video games. But when you clean your room and you look around and you feel good and you're like, sweet, my room looks great, then that gives you a dopamine hit, which makes your brain crave doing a similar thing to get a similar dopamine hit, right? So you're hacking that reward system in your favor instead of letting it drive you to just doing all the bad habits. Step 3 is simply just to clean up your environment and design it in a way that motivates and inspires you. So a little side note, I have ADHD, right? And like people with ADHD crave novelty, right? So, you know, I'd had the same morning routine, my room had looked the same, my life had felt the same for too long, and I was fucking bored. That happens to everybody, right? But it happens a lot quicker to somebody with ADHD. And it's a lot more powerful. Instead of just like, okay, yeah, you know, this is boring, I feel a little bored, it's like, fuck this, you know? So instead of just cleaning up my room, I actually rearranged some of the furniture, and I bought my favorite books to the front of my bookshelf, and I moved like my plants and like decorative things around, and just made it a more, not only clean, but a more appealing place to be, and a place that made me feel kind of excited to work. And know yourself, know what makes you tick, and then arrange your room, your house, your apartment, your environment in a way that's going to make you feel good and put you in a good, productive state. Being in that refreshed environment will help you get refreshing ideas, your self-image will improve, and you'll feel so much better. Congratulations, you've now broken out of the cycle of bad habits and procrastination, and you've started to build momentum and, you know, feel good about yourself. Now I want to move on to the last phase of this little protocol, which is going for a walk. Leave your phone at home. No music, no headphones, like no notifications, just no phone. Leave it at home, and like you're not gonna fucking die. Alright, your fucking leg's not gonna fall off. Your house isn't gonna burn down. Your family's not all gonna fucking die while you're out for a 30-minute stroll. Alright, leave your phone at home, dickhead. Okay, and just go for a walk. Go somewhere with trees and nature and grass, you know, maybe a river. Like for me, I just walked down to my local park and walked along the river for a bit. You know, the funny thing is, you know, I've been to that park, seen that river, and done that walk probably thousands of times. But weirdly, it was one of the best like little snippets of my life that I can remember over the last few months, maybe a year, right? Because the contrast between like what my last few days, last kind of week had looked like, compared to just this like beautiful experience of just walking along the river in the evening, you know, took a few photos of the sunset, you know, looked at some leaves, listened to the birds, whatever. It was just like fucking nice. And you know, I felt like I reconnected with the world and my mindset just flipped. Look, this is gonna make you feel great for a couple of reasons, but you know, not only will your brain release a bunch of hormones and neurotransmitters and stuff like that, it'll give your mind a chance to generate ideas and allow ideas to surface. That's it. This protocol might seem really simple, and you know, I accidentally created it the other day, but it's actually super effective. And you know, I've broken it down into these few replicatable steps that you can try. I really wanted to make this video because I felt like this is genuinely helpful and genuinely valuable. You know, that's what I've really enjoyed about making these videos, is I can learn a lesson or come up with a solution to something in my own life, or try and implement something, or like share my experience, and you know, it's probably gonna help somebody, and that's great. That's sick. Like I love that. Yeah, I've struggled with ruts and slumps and stuff for, you know, since the beginning of my self-development journey, but you know, I've been stuck in them for weeks and weeks at a time. But you know, using this, I was able to cure my brain and snap out of a rut in like, what? It only lasted like a few days. So, and for proof of how well this has worked for me, I'll show you a little clip that I recorded on my way home from the gym last night as I was recording this video. Feeling good. Just fucking smashed a chest day. Triceps are wrecked, chest is wrecked. I feel great. Get to walk home in the dark. Last remnants of the sunset, fuck yes. Fuck yes. First training session back in like a week and a half. Feeling fucking awesome. Yeah, I really hope this works for you, and I hope you enjoyed the video. But yeah, thanks for your time. If you want to see some more of this content, like the video, subscribe, whatever. I'm trying to create a movement of teenagers who are all doing productive shit and improving their lives. So if you want to be a part of that, we'd love to have you.